The air was thick with the scent of brewing coffee and old secrets. Rain slicked the cobblestones of Prague, mirroring the sheen of anxiety that coated Agent Thomas's nerves. He adjusted the nondescript briefcase handcuffed to his wrist, its ordinary exterior hiding the fate of nations. The clock on the old town hall chimed 10 times, each clang resonating with the weight of his mission. Thomas, a shadow himself amidst the bustling tourists, found his eyes continually drawn to the dark mouth of the alley across the square, their designated meeting point. He had been briefed on Carol, his contact, but the dossier held more shadows than substance, a whisper of a legend from the Cold War, a ghost who moved through the intelligence world with the ease of smoke. Carl was their only hope, the repository of secrets that could avert a catastrophic conflict. But with men like Carl, trust was a currency as fickle as the Prague wind. A figure materialized from the gloom of the alley, his face obscured by the low brim of a fedora. He moved with the sinuous grace of a predator, his eyes constantly scanning, missing nothing. This had to be Carol. Thomas, his pulse quickening, crossed the square, his hand hovering near his concealed Walther PPK. Every fiber of his being screamed caution, yet he was drawn in, like a moth to a flickering flame. "Carol?" Thomas asked, his voice barely a murmur. "You possess something that belongs to me," the figure rasped, his voice a low growl that sent shivers down Thomas's spine. There was no confirmation, no pleasantries, just a chilling demand that hung in the air between them. Thomas knew better than to expect anything else. He uncuffed the briefcase, his every sense on high alert. "And you have the assurance I require," Thomas countered, his voice steady despite the tremor running through him. This was the most dangerous part of any exchange, the moment of vulnerability when trust, or the lack thereof, could be fatal. A sardonic smile twisted Carol's lips as he took the briefcase, his eyes gleaming with cold amusement. "Trust is a luxury I can ill afford, Agent Thomas," he sneered, tossing a thick envelope dismissively at Thomas's feet. The weight and feel of it confirmed his worst fears. It was wrong. Deception, it seemed, was woven into the very fabric of their agreement. "You were warned about me," Carol chuckled, a chilling sound that echoed in the narrow confines of the alley. He turned to leave, his silhouette already melting into the shadows. Some lessons are learned the hard way, it seems. But before Thomas could react, a deafening roar shattered the stillness. A black van screeched around the corner, its headlights momentarily blinding. A hail of gunfire erupted, the air thick with the acrid smell of gunpowder. Instinct took over, years of training kicking in as Thomas threw himself to the side, adrenaline coursing through his veins. He rolled, coming up in a crouch, his weapon drawn. The cobblestones beneath him were slick with rain and littered with shattered glass. Two figures, their faces masked, emerged from the van, their AK-47s spitting fire. Thomas returned fire, the sharp retort of his Walther echoing through the narrow alleyway. He knew he couldn't win this. Not here, not outnumbered. His escape route was a twisted labyrinth of narrow alleys and hidden courtyards, the ancient city becoming his shield. He could lose himself in its shadows, become one with the city's hidden heart. As he ran, his mind raced, piecing together the puzzle of Carl's betrayal. Who had sent the assassins? Was Carl merely playing a double game, or was he a pawn in a larger, more sinister scheme? He ducked down a side street just as another volley of gunfire ripped through the air, the stench of cordite stinging his nostrils. He had a slim chance of shaking his pursuers, but he needed help, and fast. His fingers fumbled for his phone, finally managing to dial a number he had memorized but hoped never to use. "It's me," he gasped, his voice strained. "The package is compromised. I need immediate extraction at my 1020. The line clicked dead, leaving him with nothing but the pounding of his heart and the echo of his own words. He could only hope his message had been received, that his location would be kept secret. He was alone, hunted, and the game was far from over.